courtesy of the red, white, and blue.
It's time for Veterans Issues, the show that brings you information about veterans, military, and their family. Now here's your host, Ken Rollins.
Welcome into Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins here. Today my guests are from the Oxford Police Department. I got Lieutenant Don Ridley and Officer Jerry Lyons. We're going to talk police stuff. Be right back. Yeah. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. Appreciate you tuning in today. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the Police Department of Oxford, my hometown, and things that everybody can use out there, the things that you should know, no matter if you're on the interstate or if you're in the streets or whatever. But I was going to have Oxford Police Chief Bill Partridge, but he's under the weather. He's playing sissy on us today, but we're going to give him a bye and have him back in here. And I got two for one. I got Lieutenant Ridley, and I got Jerry Lyons. Welcome, Jerry. There you go. You're going to do that too. Yeah, there we go. You got it down. So we'll do that. Don, you've been on here before, and Jerry, you've been on here before, and you actually have the same job, but the different. Yours is kind of managerial, and his is community. I call it community policing. Is that what you do? Well, everybody does community policing in Oxford, but
yes,
you do it in a little bit different way. We'll address that in a minute. And you're military.
Yes, sir. I was U.S. Army. I was active duty from 1992 to 1998.
So you had Desert Storm in there, so
it had just ended. I believe it ended in '91.
Okay, that's good. I think you know that when I go to the veterans' homes, I see people in there. I got the different eras that they serve, and I've got a lot of Desert Storm folks in these homes, and we forget that was in 1990. That's been a long time.
It has, and it didn't last that long. Once it transitioned from Desert Shield to Desert Storm, it didn't last very long.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's the thing that catches me as I realize, like Desert Storm, Desert Shield, all that was just yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
9/11 was like yesterday, but we got 15 years behind us on 9/11. You realize that 15-year-old kids that you meet in school, Jerry, weren't even born. How do you get through them if you were talking? If you was addressing a group of just going into high school kids and you want to talk to them about what it was like on 9/11, you couldn't say, y'all remember 9/11, how you felt that day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I was going around to schools right after that, I could ask the kids, how'd you feel a month or so ago when it happened? You can't do that now. 15 years, unless they're older and, not 16 years old, they wouldn't remember.
Right.
So we're getting old,
and just think the 15-year-olds that you would have spoke to then are 30 years old now.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, that's just another slap in the face. We got a lot to talk about here. Jerry, let's go to Jerry and talk about the community policing. One of the things that I've noticed that you've been doing, and we haven't talked about this, but you got a bike that you take off of your cruiser.
Yes, sir.
And that opens up the door automatically to kids.
It does, to kids and adults. A bike officer is a lot more approachable than somebody riding around in a patrol car.
Why is that?
Just easier to talk to. As I'm riding through a parking lot, I always speak to people.
Okay.
And
not like you got to roll your window
I'm
down.
not rolling down my window. It's already down. It gives us something to talk about.
Wow.
It just opens up the communication.
But there ain't no high-speed pursuits or that.
I have caught up to some people.
Really?
I have.
You talk about the one on the foot.
I've even made some traffic stops.
Wow.
It's actually been very effective from the criminal patrol point of view, from catching bad guys. It's because you can't hear him coming.
If I was in the car and I got pulled over by a policeman on a bike, I would probably give up my life of crime that day. Because I sure wouldn't want it to get out.
He's done it.
That's
true. I've made an arrest off of a traffic stop from a bike.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, sir.
Hey, we could go so many ways with that. But I could imagine. Oh my goodness.
It's a great tool.
Well, I didn't do a disclaimer. I've known Jerry for a couple of decades, seems like, and I've been knowing Don for about that many. One of the things I noticed, Don, is the equipment. What is that program that y'all get? chief gets equipment from military?
DRMO, it's an acronym that I don't know the meaning, but the 1033 program.
1033, that's what I think. And that's where surplus military equipment can be distributed to the cities and counties and that are in need of it. That's one of the things that under the administration now they've turned against. They call it too military. We don't want to look too military. I don't mind saying that for the people out there. I don't care. I don't care how military you look. You coming to rescue me, bring a M1 tank. I don't care.
Right.
And I think most people feel that way. But if you want to get in politics, I think that. But y'all have got you got a Bearcat on the way.
That's correct.
Now, that is something that I've seen in a lot of situations, a lot of cities here lately.
That's correct. Bearcat is a vehicle that's widely used throughout the nation, and it's a purpose-built armored vehicle specifically designed for law enforcement purposes, and it's pretty much the best at what it's designed to do.
But it's a defensive. It's not. It doesn't have guns.
It has no weapons on it. No, yeah. It's just strictly an armored vehicle to allow our SWAT teams, or we call ours an ESU team, so that they can get to the bad guy, neutralize that bad guy as quickly as possible, and get out safely. But ours could also be used for rescue operations if we had bad weather, like we did on April 27th several years ago. So for us, it's going to provide, it's going to be a tool for many reasons.
Well, it wasn't that long ago that I watched and witnessed a play out of a man barricaded in his house. He shot a door, hundreds of times. You know the situation I'm talking about. And if you got some equipment that can protect your officers to fight another day, to protect you another day, why not? Who cares what it looks like, if it's OD or blue?
Exactly. And we do have some surplus military equipment, and I'm sure that if somebody saw our ESU team, they might appear militaristic, but 98% of the time, this is what we look like. And we don't look military right now.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't. Like I said, to me, it doesn't matter if I'm in need of you guys. I don't care if you come in wearing your pajamas.
That's right.
Come help me, and that's what y'all do. The drone, I've seen that used just for purposes of flying over for the 4th of July and things like that. But I can just see so many uses that you'd have for that if you've got a shooter in the woods out there somewhere and you don't want to put your people at risk.
That's right.
And that's one of the things that I think of is, I remember when the Dallas shooting happened, I remember yelling the word Bearcat. I believe it was in Dallas that they said, you could hear them saying, ask for the Bearcat. So that was, the other thing, Gary, do you go to schools? I know they got school resource officers, but you're not a school resource officer.
I'm not, but we do work security in all of our schools daily.
They have one in every school, right?
Yes, we both do.
Okay, y'all do work in okay. The kids, do they get to know you very well in there?
Oh,
absolutely, they do.
Both of you had kids, so you know what these kids are in awe of. But it's great that they can look at you guys, and if they come away with one thing, that if I need them, I can call them. I don't have to be like Back when I was growing up, if you don't watch it, I'm gonna call the police on you. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yes.
And we don't want that.
We try our best to break down that and not have parents to tell their kids that.
Well, Jerry, you was with 911 when I first met you, and that was some of the things that y'all used to do going into the schools. We ain't gonna talk about Reddy Fox. But you would talk about use 911, how to use it, when not to use it, and things like that. So this is some of the similar along the lines of.
Absolutely, I do everything in.
I don't know how much time we got, but we
do everything in the schools, from reading to kids to teaching them stuff like that. To I'm a fixture in the lunchroom to opening milks.
Yeah, I don't know where we are on time there, but okay. So we run out of time on this section. We got to go to a break and talk about things. We've got to stay on. Be right back. Be right back. Get the pen. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. We're talking to Oxford Police Lieutenant Don Ridley and Officer Jerry Lyons, and we talked about a lot about community police and things like that. There's an event coming up, and you give me the dates and time, and it's called the. We'll get the control room a heads up on it. It's called a Public Safety Night Out.
Yes, sir. September the 15th from 5 to 8.
September the 15th.
Yes, sir. Week from Thursday.
Where's it at?
The Oxford Civic Center, be the lower parking lot between the Civic Center and I-20.
Well, if I just read the sign up there, says it's got free hot dogs and drinks.
We do. We're going to have public safety personnel from Oxford Police Department, Fire Department, EMS, Air Evac, ALEA, several different agencies.
Yeah, that's what I
And,
said. It said your local safety agencies, who all would that entail?
Calhoun County Sheriff's Office will also be there, Calhoun County 911 and EMA. Game and Fish will also have representatives there, and a shooting simulator.
I bet they have little trinkets to take with them.
Alabama Forestry Commission will also be there. And then we've also teamed with some area local churches, and they're the ones that are actually going to provide the hot dogs. We've got popcorn, free drinks.
Who's doing that?
Several of the local churches are. We decided early on that a lot of churches really wanted to come in and help support law enforcement, and we wanted to support the community, so we thought what better way than to team together and offer something like this for everybody.
That's a great segue and something I want to talk about, but I didn't have notes on it. But I would expected to see you guys, I hadn't saw you in a while, that each one of you would weigh 300 and above. Because every time I turn on my Facebook, there's somebody at Oxford Police bringing donuts, sandwiches, Cokes, whatever.
Community support has been wonderful.
Isn't this something?
It is.
I mean,
It's amazing.
Especially in this day and age, it has just been really good.
Yeah.
To feel like the community really supports us. So.
One guy that I know, our state trooper out there, John Lewis, a friend of ours, John's always posting, I mean, just continues to, I was at Chick-fil-A today and somebody picked up my tab, and it's on and on and on, and somebody, I was at such and place, and the server told us our meal had been paid for, we don't know who paid for it. For all the bad stuff about targeting policemen and stuff like that, you guys, you got to feel loved.
I rarely go through a shift where somebody doesn't stop me and thank me, and that's a great community that we live in and work in.
Yeah, I feel very fortunate, to work in Oxford, and it's always been that way for me, really, in Oxford. The community's always supported us, and I think it's a two-way street. I think the way the community supports us is a reflection on the job that we do, and if we weren't doing a good job, they wouldn't support us like that. So. I'm glad to see it, and we've definitely eaten well.
Well, y'all do a lot of training down there too. So this is small town America that we live in, but we're on a main stream, I-20 from Atlanta, Birmingham, or you say Atlanta to Dallas if you wanted to. The bad guys and bad girls coming up and down this interstate out here are just a few steps off you guys' doorsteps, and you have to protect us from that too.
That's
it's not
correct.
just the local yokels, as we want to call them. But y'all have a mission that goes further than, and that's when you put out there, if you see something, say something, and we can't stress that too much. I mean, it don't have to be St. Louis, or it don't have to be Atlanta. Or
That's
New York.
correct.
Y'all got an awesome job to do to protect us out there. I feel good at night knowing that I live in Oxford and you guys are out there, but I wanted to mention that the community doing those things has got to, the people that do it get a great feeling from it. But you can imagine how they feel when they see it posted on there that you guys appreciate it. I do the pay it forward type thing a lot myself, but not just for officers, but for everybody. And let's see, I got some things. I made some notes here. I can't even read. But okay, I saw something before we started doing the show today. It came out from Chief Partridge, and it said, "Have a plan in case of an emergency." We sit here and watch the hurricane dodge, just go over, get a little rain from it, that kind of thing. But there's a lot of things that we have that affects us here from an incident on the interstate that could, a chlorine tractor trailer turnover that could make people have to find other places to relocate. One of the things that happens in them is communications with the family. We don't know if Jerry's all right. We don't know if Don is making it, but have something other than that one source of communications. Do you know of anything else that when they said, he said be prepared, I'd have to get my iPhone and pull it up.
Well, like you said, I would have backup means of communications. I wouldn't rely on just a cell phone or just a lot of the home phone now are voice over internet phones, which if you lose your power, you're going to lose your phone. I would recommend some type of first aid kit, maybe a source of water.
And also know where you're going to meet. If your family's not
Yeah.
together and you can't go back to your house, where are you going to go?
Oh, well, I was just going to say, by having the interstate, if it happened out there, you could have something that affecting your home for its evacuation, but the school would still not be affected. So that would mean that they're there. You got to have something with the kids to know if something happens that you have to stay at school. Don't worry about it. We'll meet up at Aunt Susie's house up in Piedmont or somewhere. You know, it's
A battery operated radio, so they
Yeah.
can get news and know what's going on.
That's absolutely, yeah. I just didn't look at all. Now, the one thing I knew that you had, but I didn't know they use it, that's a helicopter. Oxford has its own helicopter.
That's correct.
Is it here now, or is it still over in Pell City?
It's over at
Talladega
Talladega,
Airport.
at the
Talladega.
airport by the track.
Okay.
And matter of fact, you brought up the 1033 program. That helicopter was acquired at little to no cost to the city of Oxford and to our taxpayers. And it's been basically refurbished at this point. It's a beautiful aircraft. But as soon as our new building is completed, that's being constructed next to the police station, the helicopter will be housed there.
Great. That's what I was going to ask you. That's one of the things I did have a note on is what all is going there when people go down 78. You can see there by the station there's a construction underway. What all is that going to entail in there?
Well, there's going to be an area for our ESU team to
What's
store
the ESU?
our emergency services unit.
Okay.
It's similar to a SWAT team, but we do additional things other than go into for bad guys. They do rescue. They're trained on rescuing people and rappelling and different things like that. But that building will house them and their equipment. They'll have a locker room. There's going to be an area for training. Like I said, it's going to house the helicopter. It's going to have several bays for keeping our equipment, such as the Bearcat and the new command truck and things like that.
We got 1 minute. What do you want to tell them out there, Terry?
Well, I was going to say too, if anybody would like to see any of that equipment, such as the helicopter, our new command center, a public safety night out, September the 15th.
You're going to have that out
we'll
there?
have it out there. People can look at it. That event's just as much for adults as it is
How you
for
going to
kids.
get the helicopter out there?
It's going to be flown out there. We'll have two helicopters. We'll have our helicopter and air evacs helicopter
Has
as
it
well.
got a weight limit on it?
There is some weight limits.
Oh, man. I'm going to pull a James Gregory on you now. What else you got done? I got 30 seconds then.
Stay safe. We're kind of focusing on driving slow in the left lane.
Left lane.
So unless you're passing somebody, stay to the right.
That's the key to it. If you're in this lane and the cars over here is going faster than you're in the wrong lane.
That's correct. If you
But
see a
don't-
bunch of people passing you on the right, you might want
Yeah.
to get over.
But for those people, we don't want them ducking in the front of somebody. Just ease yourself there and get behind that.
That's right. You can,
Okay.
and legally you can only make a lane change when it's safe to do so.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Take care again.
You got to do it again.
Okay.
Got you.
Oh, you got me again.
I appreciate you and Don coming on doing the show today. We'll be back after this for some news that you can use. Get that pen. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. I appreciate Lieutenant Ridley and Jerry Lyons for coming on doing the show today. I hope you got some information out there you can use for that. Now let's give you some information you use. I want to remind you again, if you've got a power chair that your veteran is not using or doesn't need anymore, or for whatever reason, and it still operates, I got people that need those chairs to get to their mailbox and visit their neighbors down the street and whatever. But and I know I got policemen up here that said you ain't supposed to put them out there on the street, but if these little neighborhoods I am, they got to get down the sidewalk to visit. They need some way to get out. So if you've got a power chair that still works, give me a call if you don't need it anymore, and I'll put it to use. I got lots of veterans out there that need them, but they're not eligible for them through the Veterans Program or Medicaid or otherwise Medicare. The VA's changed the numbers, and I need to tell you this because it's still getting people calling over there being confused. If you're going for a hearing test for your audiology, the number is 877-894-2600. 877-894-2600, extension 4704. And if you're going for your eyes with the Vision Care Center at the Callahan Center there, that is 866-487-4244. Now, while I'm talking about that, I want to tell you about the Choice program. And remember that these glasses that I'm wearing today, these are through the VA, but I got the visit with the optometrist here in Anniston through the Choice program. So if you would like to, you need to ask about the Choice program through the VA where you get your health care. So it's a good program and it does work. They also needing volunteers over there at the new parking deck. If you've been over there, you've realized that that's a long walk from your parking to the elevator, and they need volunteers to drive those golf carts over there to take people from the elevator to the vehicle and vice versa. So if you'd like to do something, you're in the Birmingham area, here's the number to call, 205-933-4396. That was real fast, so I'm gonna do it again. 205-933-4396. And the new women's clinic is there, and it's open in the at 2415 7th Avenue South. The law enforcement tag, I won't ask the control room to bring it up, but I will tell you that when you get ready to go get a tag this year, think about the law enforcement tag. You tell them that you'd like to have it. It's honoring those that have died in the line of duty. And it also says something about the driver of that vehicle. There's the tag I'm talking about. And it goes with any color vehicle. But the revenue from the sales of that tag help us build the Alabama Law Enforcement Memorial. And so that's a good thing. So think about that when you're going to get your tag. And all your offices have that wherever you're getting your tag. And let's see what else I got to do this week. I want to remind you about the Kia stores. Kia stores in Gadsden, Kia stores in Quintard, down South Quintard. The Kia stores give 20% off to the first responders, veterans and first responders for any service and parts. And that's because Don Hobden, the owner, is a veteran himself of Special Forces. And so they honor the first responders and the military down there at Kia. So thank them guys for what they're doing, and we appreciate that. This week, salute's going to go out to, well, let's see, I had it for all the law enforcement and their families. I'm just going to keep it at that because that's these guys that serve and girls, they have somebody at home waiting on them to come in that evening. So this salute this week is for the families as well as those who serve us. So we'll see you next week right here on Veterans Issues, and this salute goes to, here we go, we're gone.